So I was distracted by someone. I was just driving by on a bike like 10 seconds ago before I cut out my last video. But yeah, certainly I've just cut out the whole point of having friendships and trying to make friendships. I think that was something definitely that started in my early teens, and it kind of branched out from there. And I had a couple of friends in my 20s, and they were in other states, but because I moved away from them, they weren't really salvageable because I never saw them or hanged out with them. So they kind of just faded away, which is very sad because one of the friends that I grew close to in Montana ended up dying, and it was somewhat of a suspicious death because he was found in the river face down with blunt force trauma to the back of his head, and it seemed like maybe he might have been murdered by somebody, but it could have been possible that he actually killed himself, like he actually fell in the river from the bridge maybe, or he fell down the rocks because he was under the abuse of, or he was under the influence of drugs. And the reason why I say that is because when I moved to Montana, I had been sober for a couple of months, and then I had got back into contact with these two people who I would have called my friends, and I ended up going on a binge when COVID-19 was kind of like flaring up all over the world, and then just before like the first couple of cases here in America like hit, we went on like a 3-week binge, and we were stealing from Walmart and Albertsons and all other stores in Montana, in Missoula, just stealing a bunch of Robitussin, Delsum, any cough syrups we could get to get high, and we would do it every day for 3 weeks. Sometimes I would go in and I would buy it, but most of the time we were just stealing it, and we would just get high every day, and that's all we did for 3 weeks. But I think that the problem there was that my friend got hooked on it. He got hooked on it, and when you get hooked on Robitussin, there's definitely at some point where it becomes like you become psychologically dependent on it. And the last time I was talking to the guy who ended up dying, my close friend's little brother, he was talking about how he was hearing voices in his head, and I thought, that's really interesting because when I tried to kill myself and I was mixing Robitussin with a bunch of other drugs, I was hearing like extremely loud voices in my head, like two people talking in my head, and one was good and one was bad, but they were just like really negative and were very self-destructive and were trying to get me to kill myself. So and I'm really hoping that that's not what actually happened to him, because this happened in July 2023, July 3rd he was found. And I don't know, I don't know the whole background or what happened, but I really hope that that's not what really happened with him. Like, he died because he was, addicted to Robitussin and he killed himself. I really do feel guilt at that too, because I introduced him and his brother to that drug, and they weren't the same after, and I haven't talked with him since, 2024. And I was like fucking in a hotel room trying to drink myself to death at the time. I sold all my Bitcoin, and I just had like $8,500 on hand, and I would spend it on hotels, just like week after week after week after week, and then just sitting in my hotel, just like chugging and drinking beer, hard liquor, Everclear, whiskey, whatever I could to just keep myself drunk, and drunk enough that I probably would have just died at some point. I never did. And so now that I'm here in Portland, I'm dealing with the same thing again. And it has nothing really to do, honestly, with anybody that I'm surrounded by. Like, because I'm in a shelter, I'm dealing with a lot of people that aren't mentally there. They're criminals, and I don't really blame the way that I feel on them. I think that there's just like a constant presence, so they're always there anyways. But I don't spend enough time there, and I don't physically put myself around people. Like, I sit in a fucking corner in the building in the back so no one bothers me, and I'm reading my book, so I don't really have an issue with anybody there. And I've never said a few words to, maybe besides one other person that was there, and that was my bunkmate, but he left like 2 months ago. So I've never really said any words to anybody else there whatsoever besides the staff. I think that's a triggering situation and environment, that I'm living in a shelter, and it's definitely in some way instigating like anger and frustration within, And I think that that could be one of the things causing me to be suicidal. But it's kind of hard to believe that, because it's almost as if I could tell myself to, if I get a job and I move into my own apartment, which I'm currently in the process of doing right now, if I leave out of the shelter and move into my apartment, how is that going to be any different? I'm going to still be around other people, other human beings. They're not going to be acting any different. Maybe they might, because, they're not the kind of people that you would be surrounded by in a homeless shelter. I guess, just pondering on that, maybe, normal, whatever you would call that. I don't think that would really change that fact. I think it's just the fact that I have to be around people. It's a problem. And for a big portion of my life, I've always been told by other people that I'm the problem and that I need to do some internal reviews. And I just think that's utter fucking nonsense and stupid when people tell me that, because, I've been pushed around a lot my whole life. And now that probably over the last 3 to 4 years, I've been putting up boundaries with people, I really fucking tick people off. And at this point, the majority of the people that I do tick and piss off because I'm setting a boundary between them, they don't respect it anyways. They keep talking shit, they keep bad mouthing me, they're looking for a reaction, and they're just sitting there waiting to do it. And that's their whole life, is just sitting there talking shit. That's all they fucking do. And this is at the homeless shelter, at the library, when I go to eat at a fucking restaurant. This is everywhere I go, and there's somebody doing it. Honestly, I'm not making this up. I'm not delusional. I'm not just paranoid. I'm not a paranoid schizophrenic thinking people are talking about me everywhere I go. I'm very intelligent, not extremely, but enough to know what's going on. And I'm very self-aware, and I'm always, constantly checking on my environment to see what's going on, who's around me, and I like to listen. That's just who I am. I like to listen to what other people are talking about, and there's no avoiding that. I mean, I can get up and walk away, but do I have to do that around every single person I'm around? It's no, not really. But I mean, I can't help it either. I mean, do I have to put on earphones every time someone comes around and I have to listen to them have a conversation with somebody? No. That's stupid. What I'm saying is that just simply me moving to an apartment really doesn't change anything, because I'm still dealing with the same problem that I was dealing with when I was how I am now in this shelter, and in the shelter that I was at in the last state I just moved from. It's people, it's human beings, your environment. It's just the fact that you have to be around other human beings is what's triggering. It's that's the trigger. It's I keep telling this, I told my therapist this many years ago. It's people. It's being around people, being triggered by people, the shit that they say, the way that they act, and you try to avoid it, and then they purposely they stage themselves, which staging is basically instigating a situation or a conflict, or they say something to you, they try to antagonize you, they stage, they try to get a reaction out of you. It's manipulation, it's emotional abuse, verbal abuse. It's on the narcissistic spectrum, and I'm dealing with a lot of these people, and I have no idea, I have no reason to or no understanding, excuse me, I have no understanding of why that happens. I just attract people like that. It's just who I am. It's my personality. I'm quiet, I'm put off, I'm reserved, and people may think that I'm weak because of that. But at the end of the day, if I go around treating everybody else the same way that they're treating me, if these people want to know the fucking way that I want to fucking talk and treat them and say the shit that I don't want to treat them, regardless of their race or where they come from, they're not gonna fucking like it, and they're gonna attack me anyways, and they're gonna keep bullying me. So at this point, it's is an environmental shift gonna change anything? I don't necessarily know, but probably not. I mean, I've figured it out at this point now, and it's pretty much irrelevant. So I'll come back and talk on the next video about another topic. Thank you guys.